nobody here watching today has ever been on the receiving end of one of John's rants. I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to kind of let you take this in, and I'm going to advise you to do a few things. You're going to pause a few times. You're going to walk away. You're going to take a deep breath. You're going to wipe the sweat off your brow, because I feel like you got an opinion to share. That is a chamois. That is not going. This is going to clean my glasses. This is not what I wipe my brow with.
I don't have anything else to throw at you for wiping,
which I appreciate. But going back to this rant that you're about to get into, is there anything that you want to prep your audience for? Because not many of them have seen you teach or been around.
Which is a shame, really. I feel like
because that's all teaching is for you. It's just ranting about history.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. That's
okay. Anything they need to know?
Buckle up. Next to my leg guys.
Well, welcome to another episode of Ugly Thirds. Today is a rant from John about...
Very smooth.
You know, I remember when Phil said, "Oh, it's not so easy, is it?"
NHL ignores history. Ugly rants. John. Go ahead.
Actually, that's very zoomed in now.
You asked for a zoom.
Yeah, you did ask for it zoomed.
So, we started talking when these jerseys came out about all the little details in here and what we expect, and it was all looking towards the Tropical Hockey League of 1937, 38, 39, regardless, 1938. It existed in South Florida, yeah. Right? 4 teams, 1 rink. It was a Northerners' idea of let's bring hockey to the South. It was a fun, interesting thing. And then this jersey came out and they said none of that. And then I saw a post, you can go ahead to the first one, from Locked On Panthers, and I guess Locked On is a network of team-based blog shows, okay. Mostly from YouTube. I saw these on Instagram, so I am using his posts. They had a Florida Panthers historian, did not know that was a thing.
You gonna try and take their job?
Not for Florida. That was good Jersey cam there. I'm glad you got a good view of my hand up close. This is where this is from and what sparked this, because this has been a long time coming, and the fact that this is where we're at drives me up a wall. I will give it. So first off, yes, this is basically my classes, though I'm walking around a room and getting my 10,000 steps a day without ever leaving my classroom.
Nice.
Or I've done this back in college where we had to pre-record our intermission reports, and so we just had to find something to talk about for that week. And shout out to Tyler Fry that this is what he sat through for 10-minute blocks through a weekend worth of games. So this is basically what this is. Let's go to these posts, because these look at the intricate details of this jersey. First off,
love that hat.
Right, isn't that a good hat?
Love that hat.
I really think this probably was supposed to be the logo, but people said, no, they need a leaping panther or they're going to kill us. So, again, the panther looks like that because they match the Miami Beach Pirates style crest. They could have gone with this instead of leaping cat, but I think they knew fans would riot if we didn't get a leaping cat. Fully agreed, Panthers historian at Florida Cats history. You look at the Miami Beach Pirates, yeah, that's exactly what that is. The logo on the pants that has gotten zero press, right? There's not even a clean picture of it. It is a diamond shape with Florida in it and a player on it, where there's a couple different teams Florida had in the 60s that sort of match this idea, but it also very much matches the Tropical League's Coral Gables Seminoles. Obviously.
A household name.
Right? But you can see there, and obviously they took off the native head, as they should, mm-hmm. But the diamond is there, and why else pick a diamond? Has there ever been a diamond in Florida history for this?
Not that I know of.
No, right. So why pick a diamond shape? This clearly came from somewhere. All right, next.
I think you need a boop today because that'll get you.
If I boop, we're lowering the temperature, and I'm not ready for that. There's a reason also my room is always freezing. It's because of this. So the Miami Clippers that have the least garish of the uniforms, and that's usually the ones people look for. You can see all 4 uniforms there. It's the one in the top left with all the abundance of shoulder stripes, but also just a strip of shoulder stripes. So for the Panthers to lift that idea with these stripes on the sleeves, very much evocative of that team. And then finally, they found a way to fit the 4th team in with a detail I never would have caught. The captaincy letter shield, the Miami Beach Pirates, is also that shield. Oh, I guess the only one they didn't get the Havana Cubans in there, but okay. I mean, good luck, fitting that in. Because why else have a shield? Is there any reason to have a shield for that? I mean, their primary logo is a shield. Is it the same shield? No. If you want to come back to Jersey Cam and look at this, you can see it's not the same shield. Yes. Excellent. It goes straight up on the sides. The Florida Panthers shield does not. It is an arc. It is a curve the entire way. Yep. So why use that? It's clearly not referring to the current Florida Panthers. This is all homage.
May I pole vault you into your next talking point?
Go ahead.
Somebody took the time to look at the 4 teams that existed, and they were able to work in elements, from my accounts, of 3 of those 4 teams. Mm-hmm. Somebody went back into the archives, because these things are not sitting out there freely available to people.
No, and I wonder what photos they have that we don't. Right?
Who's looking at this and being like, oh yeah, there's the Coral Gables, what have you elements to this. You have a cool piece of history. Long before hockey made a splash in Florida, you have a full-blown league that existed. Where is that press?
Let's take a look at what Florida actually posted. This is where the rant truly is like, there's merit to it. Because clearly some designers put this together and saw these things and looked for and took inspiration. And then this Florida Panthers historian saw this and recognized it, which is equally impressive. Phil?
I'm going back.
Yes.
Okay, so slide deck.
So next one. So this post, look at the posters, okay? The Florida Panthers official, Fanatics official, and the Florida Team Shop. I don't think you can get more involved. The only people not on there is the NHL.
Yeah.
This should be the most official, best knowledge, best informed group, bar none. Yeah?
Should be.
Think that's safe to say. Let's look at their posts on this exact same jersey. Phil?
Next slide.
Yes, that's what that means.
No, I need boop.
Leaping Cat Reimagined, a tribute to the fans. Our vintage take on the original Leaping Cat is executed with felt and chain stitching to evoke hockey's traditional craftsmanship. Okay, alright, so the logo doesn't fit into the rest of it. They just needed a Leaping Cat. Sure. Does it look like it's on Ozempic? Yes. It's gotten that buccal fat removed from its cheeks. I'm not a fan. Actually, there's versions with the original version on there, and I like it far better. But I digress. Okay, that's different. Sunshine State of Mind. We've integrated our prowling panther in a vintage sun, a motif of the Panthers brand. Can you go back, Phil? We did skip a slide, actually. This one. That shoulder patch is exactly the Miami Clippers logo.
This is what the Winter Classic should be.
Mm-hmm.
This roundel right here should be on this crest.
I've seen mock-ups of it. It's not the most amazing, but it makes more sense.
Historically.
Right.
It makes more sense.
And
is that going to sell, though? And I think that's where I struggle with all of this, is that roundel is not going to sell nearly as well as Leaping Cat.
No, and you know what? That isn't my problem here. Because I understand why they did this. The fans want this. Okay, regardless of its cheek problems. The fans want this. Phil, I'm sure you can inset us. The problem is not that this logo isn't here. The problem is that this logo is here on the shoulders, and they labeled it wrong. They said this is a sun. This is a Sun that they came up with this. Right? Go back to that Fanatics post. So, couple slides ahead. Right? They said that it is a vintage Sun. We've integrated our Prowling Panther into a vintage Sun, a core motif of the Panthers brand. No, I think that's actually a ship's wheel for a Miami Clipper. What? They don't cite their sources. They don't say where it's from. Who cares? Does anyone look at this and go, yes, Sun? No, say it's from something.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm going to get on board with you right now. You have all of this history sitting out there. You're trying to evoke a fan base. Let's go in this direction. You're trying to build a brand for this event through a fan base coming off of 2 Stanley Cups. This couldn't be easier for you to do. Like, you don't need to sell the Florida Panthers right now.
No, for the first time ever, you don't need to sell the Florida Panthers.
What you do need to sell is why this exists. And I think where this might be difficult is that all of these ideas center around Miami. And in no way, shape, or form are the Florida Panthers Miami.
You just make it Florida. Like, you lean into... Here's what I think this should have been about. This Winter Classic is not just selling to Florida. Okay, the Florida Panthers are here. They're established. They're not going away, right? This is your chance to say, we've always been here. Florida has a hockey heritage that goes back to the era of the original 6. Did it last? Doesn't matter, right? We had hockey. We have a heritage. We've been here. One of the earliest expansion teams. What was it, 96, 95? Like, lean into yes, there is a heritage here. Florida has had hockey. Oh, we're having hockey in Florida? What a crazy idea. No, we're past that. That's what this game should have been. They made the jersey for exactly that, right? It's all these references to an original league. They just refuse to say it.
You brand it as back-to-back Stanley Cups in a non-hockey market. Or is it a non-hockey market? Because we've been here before.
We've been here.
And we deserve this. We deserve the opportunity to showcase our hockey history. And our hockey history doesn't start in 1996.
Right. All right, let's continue with the next slide. So, a contemporary approach to the bold stripe designs long associated with traditional hockey sweaters. So they're referring to the stripes.
Why not say it?
Why not say it? Why not say it? The only local military ties. Okay, so they the numbers form chevrons, and we can look at that. That's fine. We can look. That's a fine detail that's not in the originals. Okay. I have nothing against this. It's a little more subtle than I'd like. I hoped it would have been like carved into the felt like the Heritage Classic and not just stitched on top like the Blackhawks Winter Classic. But okay. The next slide. But they did. They went out of their way to make sure they talk about the tag at the bottom for Victor Erad. This is the details. The details, Shrems. All the details they included in this, and no references to the actual source material.
Yeah.
Cite your work.
I was going to say,
cite your work.
As a historian, you have to cite your sources.
Cite your work.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is not as good as everybody's making it out to be. This could be better. Without the complete get-up, this is not a good jersey. But leave that up there for a second.
Oh,
no, go back. I'm
sorry. I told him not to. Go ahead.
Full screen. Full screen? Yeah, let's do full screen. The rest of this uniform makes this jersey work.
Yes. You
don't have brown pants, it doesn't work. You don't have striped socks, it doesn't work.
Yes, I'll agree with all of that.
This could have been a reverse retro.
You could bring out the '96 jerseys and people would have gone ape for it. They would have gone nuts and bought them all.
And this is what it kind of looks like, to be honest with you. You add some stripes on the shoulders. You take those stripes away, like you have the '96.
You're getting close, right?
Yeah. Going back to the historical element of all of this, you have a league that is trying to differentiate themselves among the core four sports. This is a unique opportunity to showcase that hockey, the sport that you're trying to promote, has been around for a lot longer than most people think. Mm-hmm. And in places that we deemed unacceptable for sports. There shouldn't be hockey in South Florida. The biggest argument of 1996 in the four major sports.
Up through the 2000s, because the most forgotten franchise until Columbus.
Yeah.
Poor Columbus.
Okay.
Now, but John, you're saying, I hear it already.
But John.
They can't talk about the non-NHL teams because of that Seattle Metropolitans lawsuit. First off, the Seattle Metropolitans are well known. They won the Stanley Cup. That barber pole has been around, like for someone to have trademarked that stuff does not shock me at all.
Yeah.
Has anyone really trademarked this? The Tropical Hockey League of 1938? Because considering the number of pictures I've seen, I certainly haven't seen any merch around it. So I don't think that argument holds water. But even if it does, even if it does, and the NHL is avoiding a problem, I'm going to go the next two instances, three instances, because this all goes deeper. This next one doesn't involve non-NHL teams.
Okay.
Let's look at this same Winter Classic. Next slide. Boop. The Apple logo, specifically. Patched on the left shoulder, an iconic NYC symbol and a reference to the 100 apple on our Centennial jersey. So really it's self-referential, right? We put an apple on the hemline of the Centennial jersey, and now we just changed 100 to NYR, and now we're using it.
Okay.
Big Apple. Yep. Look at the next. I just found this. This Reddit post, they found an original Jerry Cosby Rangers practice jersey from the 80s. Look at the logo on the sleeve. Mm. And I inset the current patch at the bottom. They flipped it. It's literally just a flip. I think they might have taken a detail out of the leaf. I think that's literally it.
Interesting. So
it is a Rangers, honestly, like if you made this a Winter Classic jersey, I think it'd be fun, at least. I think Rangers fans might not love it, but it'd be at least be like, oh, look, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Why isn't this anywhere? Why isn't this a thing? Oh, the Rangers had this logo. This is a logo from deep out of the archives.
Yeah.
Right, the hardcore Rangers fans likely don't know that this was a thing.
And this is where the Winter Classic differentiates itself from the Stadium Series, from the Heritage Classic. You are going into your team's history. And now we're toying with the idea of the Florida Panthers, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Seattle Kraken, being involved in things that require you to explore a city's hockey history. People don't know. Where is the museum exhibit about the Tropical Hockey League? It does not exist. You have to share that with the people. You have to show this somewhere in some capacity.
And they're just not. They're refusing to. St. Louis last year, we got into a thing. So this is the next slide. I sent you a video that I guarantee you haven't loaded into this, and that's okay.
No.
Thanks, Phil. St. Louis put out a video when they released their jersey talking about the inspiration, and literally 3 seconds, 2 shots, they have this picture of the St. Louis Flyers from the 50s.
Can you full screen that?
If you go back to the unveiling video, I complained that the St. Louis Flyers were Star Spangled. They took New York Americans jerseys and put St. Louis on the front. And for most of their history, they did. This is the only photo I've seen. And people had to send this to me and say, no, you're wrong. And I had to admit that I was wrong. Yeah, okay, it did exist. I know. Phil is slack-jawed. It happens when you're right.
Say that again.
I was wrong. I admit it. I had overlooked this part of hockey history. And when I am truly wrong, I admit it. There is heritage to that St. Louis jersey. Did that come out? Was that said? Clear. There's a wink and a nod here. Oh, they're not going to reference it. This is also before the Seattle thing. So they weren't fearing a lawsuit then. It didn't happen then. This is the only reference to it I could find from the St. Louis Blues.
You know what would be cool? For the month of December leading up to the Winter Classic, each arena has a historical display somewhere in the arena. A walkthrough, an immersive walkthrough. Be like, here's the Tropical Hockey League. Here's where we used to be. St. Louis, here's where St. Louis hockey history existed. Vegas, something. Like
You want to even do it right, you do it outside so it's completely open to the public.
The first outdoor game was in Vegas. It was a preseason game. Like, you have hockey history there that nobody's talking about.
It's so upsetting.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting.
Well, the Seattle thing is a little bit also unique because that lawsuit involves someone who bought the rights up
Right.
of the Metropolitans. So it wasn't even like it's just sitting there. Like, someone bought it up to make money off it, and the NHL was like, oh, we're just going to borrow this idea. And actually, I don't even know what the outcome of that.
I never saw anything.
that
It
kinda faded
probably
away.
settled out of court, and
Right, well, I'm
and
sure.
NDAs left and right.
But I mean, like, at a certain point, there has to be a limit.
And when it's your own, especially when it's your own history, like the Rangers one and this next example, unacceptable. You own those trademarks. Don't tell me you don't.
Well,
They're your trademarks. It's your history.
Did you put in here about the Rangers? Like, it's pretty much they kind of phoned it in a little bit for the Winter Classic. Like,
No.
Originally, there was actually talk online that was going to be like what Boston did. They had a home and an away.
Yes.
And so New York did the same thing in the way they're, oh, you're going to do the Winter Classic as well. And they're like, well, we spent all this time into this. We'll just make this the Winter Classic. So they're very similar. If you put them together, they make a set.
See, now that you say that, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, yes, I do think that in the same way that maybe it happened to Chicago as well. That was talk from a friend of the show, Windy City Hockey, that they were supposed to wear that for their winter. They were supposed to wear that for their centennial season, and then the Winter Classic said, no, we need you to make a classic jersey, and so they did. They just supplanted it, which would make sense. I would imagine the Rangers
Sure.
did the same thing. But let me insert here, and Phil's going to hate me because he's going to have to reopen and close the slide deck. I put this together, and it's actually the rough version. There's a better version of the logo I made, but I don't know that I actually shared it. So Phil, go ahead and refresh the slide deck, and it's literally the slide after St. Louis.
I got it.
You know what they should have done? That's what they should have done. And you change the Liberty to be a little more Art Deco. Art Deco has some very hard shadows. You know, it's very, if you're in shadow, it's not there. So it is slightly different, and the letters are different. You put the shield from the previous Winter Classic up there. Tell me that doesn't sell out.
Where I like this a whole lot more is that it's in the same time frame of when this existed. So the alignment historically of this throwing back to the mid to late 90s, that throwing back to the mid to late 90s, even though there's a richer hockey history in New York, I think if our job here is to sell a look and to sell jerseys, that does it.
It should have. This Winter Classic should have been the road jersey, and it would have been like but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone would have been but it makes sense. This would have sold out instantly. So.
Yep.
But it's the example that really sticks in my craw the most, because I am still working on a long project about all of this, is the last Pittsburgh Winter Classic. And I do have to specify last, I know. In the release, they said that this uniform is inspired by the 1925 Pittsburgh Pirates. Though the P crest stands equally for Pittsburgh and Penguins, it was Pirates. Let me show you the jersey that it's referring to. This is the 1925 Pittsburgh Pirates. This is the look, and that jersey is exactly the same. Did I prepare for this in order to have all these out? No, because I should have had Phil's Rangers Winter Classic. I should have had that Blues jersey. Did I prepare? No, because it was a rant, and I don't know where it's going to go. It's sitting out in the living room. I know, but it's okay. Do you see how these match up? Do you see how close these are? Right. I think the changes made were good changes. Not having the script over top. I don't like the lack of the city crest, which was actually borrowed directly from the police department. The Pittsburgh PD gave their patches from their uniforms for these sweaters in 1925. And that missing here, I think, is a detraction. But other than that, like, okay, all right. Well, but they said it, John. They said it. It's right there. Not in the broadcast. Not when it mattered. Next slide, Phil. The players showed up honoring the 1925 Pittsburgh Pirates with some fresh fits for Fenway. You can see their baseball uniforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Pirates, they went baseball.
Yep.
Except, that's not what the Pirates wore in 1925. The baseball team.
Uh-oh.
Next slide. That's what they wore. They also weren't even black and gold in 1925. That didn't happen until 1948. That is what they should have been wearing if they wanted to throw back to the 1925 Pirates. So they ignore their own NHL hockey history. Pittsburgh had an NHL team from 1925 to 1929. It made the playoffs. It's the first team to introduce line changes. There's a hockey heritage here. Oh no, the Pirates. But wait, it's the wrong Pirates. At no point in the broadcast did they mention the original hockey team. Did they explain any of this? None of this was there. Not a thing. The NHL does such an awful job at covering its own history and explaining where its work is coming from. What the point of any of this? All of these designs have thoughts to them. All of these designs have reasons. The designers are putting them in there deliberately. No one happens into these things.
Nope.
No one happens into those 4 stripes on the sleeves in the Panthers. That is an intentional move. And for the NHL to do such a terrible job at marketing their own things to push those ideas is just abysmal. Figure it out, NHL. You have the Hockey Hall of Fame, one of the best Hall of Fame institutions. Like, it's not just about enshrined members. If anything, the enshrined members are secondary to the history of the game itself. The sweaters, the gloves, the sticks, the moments, that's better in the Hall of Fame than any of the rest of it. Yeah, the enshrined members are there, and you have the big room of all the people, but that feels so second because the Stanley Cup is in the middle of that room. You hardly notice the enshrined members. It's never been about the members.
No.
It's about the history of the game. And the NHL front office, marketing team, whatever, is botching the history of the game so badly that I am actually outraged by, figure it out. This is not hard. Ask your own designers. They put it there for a reason. Figure this out. Figure it out. It's not okay. It's so not okay. And this is going to keep going. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep happening. Someone give me a call from the NHL. I will fix this.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to what I was saying before, is that of the 4 major sports in North America, this is the one that struggles to keep up. This is the one trying to carve out an identity and make itself known as a league that has been around for 100+ years. Why not showcase where you've been to tell the people who aren't alive anymore that were participating in these? Tell the people now that this has existed in your city before.
Yeah.
Take some pride in this. Start merchandising things like this. People love money, right? Why not make the Tropical Hockey League
do a line of vintage sweaters. People will buy the sweaters whether they like the looks or not.
Cardigans.
Right?
Well, nobody's wearing a cardigan in Florida. But
well, and you do a t-shirt line to go with it for Florida itself, right?
Or the warm-up uniforms are one of those first 4.
Would also be fun.
You would have good visibility there. Come on. I get it.
The only ever since Doc Emmerich retired, there is now 0 hockey history in the broadcast. Doc Emmerich was the only person who ever cared about any of it, and now he's retired. So people need to step up. People need to step up, and it needs to be in these press releases and do better. Do better than it's traditional striping.
Phil, what are we at right now, time wise?
You want to take a guess?
28 minutes.
Super close. 29 and a half.
I feel like
I can go the full 85. You want the full 85?
I feel like the viewers got off easy here, but I think we've beaten this thing to death.
All right. With that, he's Shrems. I'm John. Phil, you take us out so I can take a blood pressure med.
You didn't yet already? I mean,
No, I did. This is just think how much worse.
This is him calm, Phil.
This is the calm version.
well, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. John will be fine. Don't worry about his health. Ring the bell so you get notifications because we will have more videos. He'll be around. And tune in for another episode of Ugly Thirds.
That's a lot of reassurance that John's going to be fine when we know he's not going to be.
That's
so.
the most he's ever cared about me.